It might seem strange to treat sleep training our son as a project, but it totally is. It has a desired outcome and it has a timeline, which is as soon as possible. It was at this moment, as in so many other moments of my life, I turned to my second brain. When I became a father, everyone told us that it would change everything. But even with that in mind, we were not prepared for how radically our lives would change. One of the most immediate dramatic impacts was on our sleep. For those first few months, our son Caillou needed constant round-the-clock feeding and care. He would wake up several times throughout the night, screaming, and it would sometimes take a long time to get him back to sleep. We stumbled around the house like zombies during the day, and at night would cringe in fear every time we heard a sigh or a hiccup. The burden fell especially hard on my wife, Lauren. I remember messaging my sister, who has a son, one bleary-eyed morning when my sleep had been so bad the night before I was in physical pain. She recommended a well-known book called The Happy Sleeper. I downloaded the ebook and started reading this calm, confident approach to sleep training. I had never heard anything like this before. The authors presented an approach to sleep training that was aligned with the latest science. Now here's the problem. I know it's going to take me between 5 and 10 hours on average to read an entire book. Plus, it takes additional time to take notes, review those notes, and then figure out how they apply to my situation. And whatever plan I create needs to be usable late at night in the dark with a crying baby in my arms and my brain working at 10% of its usual capacity. This would be a challenge even during the best of times. I want to show you how I did it, relying on the 4 steps that I teach in my book and online course. First, I read the book on my iPad over the course of about a week. And as I read, I highlighted the passages, the parts that applied specifically to the age of our son. My goal was to just get through the first pass as quickly as possible and capture top takeaways into a separate place that I control. I relied on a tool called Readwise. What Readwise does is it automatically syncs any highlight that I make in an ebook over to my digital notes app, which in my case is Evernote. At that point, once I'd read the book, it was time to create a new project. Now, it might seem strange to treat sleep training our son as a project, but it totally is. It has a desired outcome, which is our son and my wife and I regularly getting a full night's sleep. And it has a timeline, which is as soon as possible. I created a dedicated project notebook, which is really just a folder in my digital notes app. The first note that I put there was the note full of highlights from The Happy Sleeper. I began to distill the best parts of that digital note, making certain passages bold so they would stick out from the surrounding text. And finally, I highlighted the best of the best parts in bright highlighter yellow so that in the middle of the night with my brain at 10% capacity, I could open up my iPad and within about 30 seconds go straight to the answer that I was looking for. Now, this note is already way more distilled than the original book, and the advice that it contains is quite accessible. But in this case, I knew I needed to take this a step further. I needed to create an action plan for how we in particular would apply this knowledge. The most actionable way to present any information is a checklist. It's a linear step-by-step outline telling me exactly what to do and in exactly what order. And this, it may not seem like it, but creating a checklist is an act of expression. It's creating something new. I'm expressing through this checklist my own priorities, my own needs, and my constraints in the form of this step-by-step document. I began by copying and pasting only the bolded and highlighted passages, which are the best ones, from the original note full of all my highlights into a new note called Caillou's Sleep Training Action Plan and began moving the points around into different sections. Products that I knew I needed to buy, I put at the very top so I could prioritize getting those purchased and shipped to us. The 2 central techniques taught in the book, which are the sleep wave and the sleep ladder, I put next so that they'd be clearly visible near the top of the note. And you know what? Even for these core techniques, the main message of the book I had to assemble them. I had to cut and paste various details about how to use these techniques from different chapters of the book. The checklists that you see here, they were not found in this form in any single place in the book. Next, I assembled a customized bedtime routine for Caillou, picking and choosing only some of the many ideas that the book's authors had presented. Next was Caillou's nap routine and recommended nap schedule. Then I had some tips to follow during daytime hours to make sure he was tired by bedtime. There was even a set of kind of motivational mantras that the authors suggested for staying motivated when the training didn't seem to work and we'd be tempted to give up. Advice that didn't apply to Caillou's current age, I just moved to a separate section at the very bottom of the note so that I could reference it when he reached that age. This sleep training action plan had an almost immediate, dramatic impact on our quality of life. I referenced it constantly, making tweaks as we discovered how Caillou responded to different techniques. And it's important to note that the book's authors couldn't have created this action plan for us. It's their job to present a wide range of advice and many different options to suit the needs of diverse families. It's up to us to decide which advice fits us, what we are willing to try and what we're not, and put it into a form that integrates with who we are as a family. And you know what? This is true of all books, and it's true for you. All the books you read are designed by definition for a mass audience, which means only some small percentage of what they contain is relevant and useful to you. Therefore, it is your responsibility, it is your right, your privilege to find only those gems that matter to you and to bring them into your routines, integrate them into your thinking, bring them into your life. In my case, I took a final step. I printed the one-page action plan that I've shown you, and I pinned it to the wall right outside our son's room. That single page contained only 0.3%, not even 1% of the full 326-page book. Being on literally the same page about our son's sleep habits not only helped us give him the gift of better sleep, the most important things for his brain development, it also helped us stay on the same page as partners, as husband and wife, about our philosophy of sleep as a family, which was so important all those times that it was tempting to give up and to throw in the towel. You know, the answers to so many of our problems, both as individuals and as a society, they're already out there. They're just not well distributed. They're stuck in books and classes and lectures that we don't have time to consume as busy modern people. This is why it's so important to master this practice of taking in the information we're consuming, collecting it, organizing it, distilling it, and then expressing it so that it can have its maximum impact on what matters to you. I'm asking you to master the practice of saving the results of the work you're already doing in a trusted place outside of your head. You can learn more by subscribing to this channel or by clicking the links in the description. Also, for any sleepy parents out there, if you'd like to see my notes from the book, The Happy Sleeper, as well as the action plan that I came up with, those are also in the video description. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join us on your own journey towards building a second brain. It's funny, right? It's so funny. It's so funny what Daddy does. You see the microphone? Yeah. And the camera. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join us on your own journey to build a second brain.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
No.
Oh, no.
You did a little bit. Maybe you'll be able to edit.
Yeah, maybe.
Bye. Dile bye. Dile adios.
You don't like saying bye-bye now?